For this man, we began, Beis Hashem, learning Hilchos Minim, Siman Tafresh Nun Aleph, the Siman of Dinei Netila V'Habracha. Today's shir is an overview in general. When the Torah says Ulakachtem, that is a mitzvah to take Dalad Minim, we're going to discuss what goes into the Mitzvas Lakicha, the mitzvah of taking Dalad Minim. What's included? What is the Torah Hachaim when the Torah says to take Dalad Minim? The Gemara in Pesachim, the Gemara of Zion Amud Beis, the Gemara speaks about the different types of brachas that one make. Sometimes a person makes a bracha of al. For an example, al hamila. We just learned last month the night kol mila. You make al hamila. Al tvilas kelim. Some brachas are al, and then some brachas are with a lamed le. Lehaniach tefillin, lishmoya kol shofar, Rosh Hashanah coming up. So some are al and some are le. So the Gemara discusses and explains what's the difference why some brachas you say al and why some brachas you say lehaniach. And the Gemara says that the brachas that a person makes something that he has to do himself, you make a bracha with a lamed. Lehaniach tefillin, lishmoya kol shofar, you have to do it. However, brachas that you don't have to do, like we said, ala mila, the father, if he's not a moyel, someone else could do it. So mela ala mila. Actually, if the father does the mila, you make lamel. Some shitas, the Gemara speaks about it. Al tvilas kelim. So that's what the Gemara says. Frek the Gemara, these different kashas, different yotzim and aklals. The Gemara asks a shaila by Lulav. Lulav, what's the bracha that you make? Asher kedishana mitzvah tzivanu. Al natilas lulav. So l'chayra, lulav, you can't make a shliach, you have to do it yourself. So l'chayra, you should say it with a lamed. Litoil, likach, the dalad minim. Why al? That's what the Gemara asks. L'chayra, you should say it with a lamed when you take the dalad minim. So the Gemara says that no. Since be'idna, the Lashon HaGemara, be'idna da agba nofek pei, right when you pick up the dalad minim, you yoitza. And how Rashi explains the bracha that you're making is a bracha over l'asiyasam. You're making the bracha on the mitzvah that you did already because you already picked it up. So B'meila, that's why you make a bracha al natilas lulav al and not likach litoil. That's the Gemara. Good. That's you're right. And Chanami or Yemachamet Shlei Lotzis. We're going to speak a little bit about it today. And I'm not going to go into the Gemara bariches, but in Chanami Taka. That's what we do. It shouldn't be over l'asiyasam, so we pick it up upside down, not to be yotzeh. But the Gemara says the reason why we make a bracha al natilas lulav is because be'idna the agba nafek bei. Right when you pick it up, you are yotzeh. Now the shaila is be'idna the agba. Do you have to actually pick up the dalad minim? Do you have to take the dalad minim, or it's enough that you're holding it? Yeah, that's the shaila. The Gemara says, "Be'idna the agbe." The Gemara says, "Be'idna the agbe." When you take it, when you pick it up, you yotzeh. How much do you have to do in the dalad minim to be yotzeh? Do you have to actually take the dalad minim, or it's enough as long as you're holding it? And we'll see right away a couple of nafkaminas to understand better the shaila. But the shaila is it enough just holding it, or you have to actually take it? What is the Gemara? What does it mean when the Torah says ulakachtem? Pashtus, the taichin lakachtem is you have to take it. And actually, we're going to see soon, there are many poskim that say that you have to takadu, you have to take it, you have to make a ma'isa lakicha, ulakachtem. Others say that no, you don't have to do a ma'isa lakicha, you don't have to take the dalad minim. As long as you're holding it, it's enough. To say so when the Torah says ulakachtem, what means ulakachtem? Pashas Yilon ulakachtem means you have to take it. Ulakachtem means when you're holding it, that is a lakicha. That's big machlekes apoiskim. To say so when we started learning now Siman Tafresh Nun Aleph, the Scheiner says Mitzvas Arba Minim Sheyitol Kol Echad Lulav Aravis Hadasim an Esrig Sheyitol. So is there a din that you have to take it, or it's enough even without taking it as long as it's in your hand? That's enough. Very good. We're going to get to 4 nafkaminas. Yeah, very good. We'll get to it in a minute. second. I'm going to say the nafkaminas, and that'll bring out exactly the chiluk. But just to understand, before the nafkaminas, just the translation, the definition, taking it means you have to take it. But however, holding it means, let's say for somehow you have a way that it's just in your hands without taking it. It's in your hands. But when you're walking to shul, technically, that's one of the nafkaminas. Let's handle the nafkaminas and adrabah. Let's see if there's even more nafkaminas also. But just to understand, before the nafkaminas, just a literal translation. What we're talking about is either you have to take it, you're holding it, you take it, nothing more. You take it, or am I yoitza just that it's in my hand now? That's so again, lokachtem. The Torah Pasha says lokachtem. You have to take it. The tzad to say you don't have to literally take it, the poskim explain ulakachtem by holding it. We're gonna get to picking up also. Very good, Rabbi Yehuda. That's part 2. But ulakachtem, but just by holding the daled minim, that itself is enough. Yeah, Rabbi Asher.
I was thinking if you take it, you have to hold it once you've taken it.
That's for sure. You're saying obviously if you took it, you're holding it. That you're definitely right. If you took it, you also have holding it. But the question is maybe just holding it without taking it is enough. What's the nafkamina? I have 4 nafkaminas that I see in the poskim. The first nafkamina is like Rabbi Shia said, if let's say you took it before the alois, you picked it up, not picking it up, you took it from the table, you took it into your hands before the alois, and now it's after the alois. Before the alois is not as man lakicha. So if the requirement that the Torah wants to lakach them is to take it, so you don't have a lakicha, you're not yoitza. However, if it's just that it should be in your hands, doesn't make a difference that you took it before the alois. As long as it's in your hands, you're yoitza. That's one nafkamina. Another nafkamina would be, if let's say, like mentioned before, if somebody else puts it into your hand, which is actually a very big nafkamina, very practical nafkamina ladina. If let's say you have an elderly person, someone who's 95 years old, that he barely could move, so you put tefillin on him, you put daled minim in his hands. So if you just put the daled minim in his hands, somebody who's a chayil in the hospital, he can't take it, you put it into his hands. If the person, the chayil, the zaken, or somebody takes it out of your hands, so he took it. But let's say he's just holding his hands over here, and you put the daled minim in. So you didn't do a ma'aseh lakicha, but even though you didn't do a ma'aseh lakicha, he's holding the daled minim. Is he yoitza the mitzvahs, the raisa, the first day, the other days, the rabbanon, is he yoitza the mitzvahs, the daled minim or not? What'd you say? So, if somebody's a oynis, either he's not going to get an oynish or oynis kamada mevad like he did it, but we're talking about to do the mitzvah the right way. Of course, if a chayla can't do it, and if he can't put on tefillin, he's a oynis. We're talking about in a way to know that if he, let's say, he's a zaken, that technically if he puts in his extra koiches, he could do it. So what is the mitzvah? Is the mitzvah just holding it in his hand? Or what a mitzvah is picking it up? I'm not picking it up, taking it. That's 2 nafkaminas. Again, before alois, or let's say if someone puts it into your hands. The third nafkamina would be, if let's say, like you mentioned before, if let's say you machaven not to be yoitze when you pick it up. That's technically one of the eitzes, which the Magen Avram actually says ledina. The Magen Avram says that when you pick up the daled minim, so it shouldn't be oivel asiyasam. What many or most do is you pick it up upside down. So maybe it's not derech gedula, you're not yoitza. The Magen Avram says be mechaven not to be yoitza. So what happens? You pick up the daled minim, mechaven shalei latzis, and then right after you mechaven shalei latzis, right after you pick it up, you make the bracha, and then you mechaven right now. You want to be yoitza. So are you yoitza or not? If you need a ma'aseh lakicha to take it, you didn't take the daled minim, it's in your hands now. But if it's as long as you're holding it, it's enough. So lamaisa, you're holding the daled minim, you're going to be yoitza. Just to understand that this may be different than the alois, I'm not going to go into it now, but I just want to bring up that there's a possibility to be machalak between the alois example and the mechaven shalei latzis, which meaning to say is, are you going to tell me that the Magen Avram holds that you don't need to take it? The Magen Avram says if you pick it up mechaven shalei latzis, then you mechaven to be yoitza. That's what you should do. So does the Magen Avram hold that you don't need a lakicha? So it could be it's different because before the alois, he's no lakicha b'chlal, because it's not as man chiv. Here it's as man chiv. You just machamach shleilotzis. There's what to speak about, and then you could talk about a cotton that becomes a gadol the first day, and he picks it up erev sukkos. There's a lot what to speak about, but in general, that's the third nafkamina. If somebody's machaven shleilotzis, so he doesn't have a lakicha, but even though he doesn't have a lakicha, lamaisa he's holding it. The fourth nafkamina is also a pretty common nafkamina ladina. The first day Yom Tov is a din lachem, or lakachtem lachem. You can't borrow the dalad minim. So what happens? You don't have your own set, so you borrow. So you take it from somebody else. Matana manas lahachzer. He gives it to you matana to be koinit. So when you take the dalad minim, be'etzim you're taking the dalad minim to be koina. And then after, once you're koina, now you can do the mitzvah. So Mamela, when you took it in the beginning to be koina the dalad minim, technically it's problematic to use that netila to be a netila taking it, to using that taking for the mitzvah. So after taking it from the person, matana manas lahachsi, you made a kinyan, you have to put it down and take it again, do a ma'aseh lakicha taking to be yotze the mitzvah. So what the Olam is asking, that what the Shaila, the Olam is asking is that when the esrog, you pick it up upside down, so it's missing in the lakicha. We're going to discuss soon in part 2 that there's another chelik in the lakicha of picking it up. So let's handle with the Olam to see if maybe by picking it up, you also have a lakicha. But I hear the Shaila. The Shaila is a good Shaila. L'chayr, when it's upside down, no, not kinyan. No, not on the fourth nafkin of Tamanas Lachs. He's asking every single day of Yom Tov, how do we do the mitzvah? We pick it up upside down, and then afterwards we turn it over. So where exactly is the lakicha over there? Where you taking the dalad minim? But let's see part 2 of the shir, the next chelik, and we'll see maybe it'll be meyusha with that. We're going to go into the next chelik. Maybe there's even another part in the lakicha of taking. But technically it's a good shaila. When the esrog's upside down, when you pick it up upside down, so lakicha to taking it, when you just turn it around, that's not lakicha, it's just there, it's in your hand. So Lamaisa, this shaila is a big machlokes ladina. I'll just list a little bit. The ones who say that you're not yotze is the Chassam Sofer. It's brought in his Talmud brings it in Machne Chaim. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta and Binyan Shloime. His Oiris Tshuva of Shloime Zalman Lamaisa and the Halacha. The later Poskim he brings it. That's the ones who say that you're not yotze to take an esrig, to be yotze with dalad minim, that when it's in your hand. Again, the reason is because it says lakachtem. Lakachtem means that you have to take it, not just have it in your hands. The ones that say that you're yotze, the Avnei Nezer, the Machne Chaim himself argues on his Rebbe, the Chassam Sofer, and he says you are yotze. The Chazon Ish, the Kaf Hachaim, says that you're yotze. Like we said before, the nafkamina is a big nafkamina saldina. I think the alois is maybe just a geschmack of nafkamina, but the other ones are pretty practical. And the Chazanit, Rabbi Yashiv, they all say that you're yotze, because when the Torah says ulakachtem, nichlal and ulakachtem, not nichlal, ulakachtem means that you should, holding it as ulakachtem. Now, we'll move on to another shaila. A separate shaila, whether if you need to take it or if holding it itself is enough. Let's go into another shaila. You have the esrog, you're holding it. Whether you took it or whether you're just holding it. Do you have to lift the esrog also? Do you have to pick up the esrog? Do you have to pick up the esrog? Means it's on the table. Let's say we'll go with the shita, so you have to do a proper taking it. So you took the dalad minim, it's on the table, and you took it. Do you have to also pick it up? Do you have to pick it up? What'd you say? No, so we're not talking about a kinyan. Let's say you own the dalad minim. You bought it in the shuk a week before, and you own it. It's yours. So you're not making any kinyanim. The first day, the third day, even if you borrow somebody's lulav the third day, you did it, you borrowed it. So you don't have to make a ma'aseh kinyan. Do you have to pick it up? Or as long as you're holding it, taking it, holding it is enough. Or you have to pick up the dalad minim. Pashtus, the Lashon Gemara, which we mentioned in the beginning, the Gemara in Psachim, the Gemara says, Be'idna da'ag bei nafek bei. The Lashon HaGemara would seem to be the Agbid, you have to pick it up. That's the Pashas Lashon HaGemara. The Kappas Tamarim, the Flamet test, the Kappas Tamarim says you have to pick it up. To be Yoitze, the mitzvah, you have to pick up the Daled Minim. And he says you have to pick it up 3 Tvachim, or maybe even L'chal Pachas a Tefach. You have to pick up, you have to pick it up. And this 3 Tvachim, where does he get 3 Tvachim or Tefach? So he says, because Ayin Choyshe Mishpat, Simen Kuf Tzadik Ches, by making a kinyan Agba, there's a big machlokes Rishonim, Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. How much Agba is? Is Agba 3 Tvachim or Agba is a Tefach? Machlokes Rishonim. Scheiner speaks about it, and the Reises, the Rabbanon. So Mamela, he's medamba that when you pick up, in the Agbe, it has to be such a type of Agba to pick up like a kinyan of Agba. So mainly the 3 Tvachim L'chal Pachas a Tefach. That's the Shita Sakapis tomorrow. Mi'idach, the Hachaim Bracha, and later the Emek Bracha, they both say it's true. In the Agbe, you have to pick it up. But you don't have to pick it up to do a Maisa Kinyan. You're not being kind of the Daled Minim. Why would you have to pick it up to be kind of the Daled Minim? Even if you're not kind of the Daled, even without a Kinyan. But Etzim, you don't have to do Agba. So why do you have to pick it up? The Emek Bracha explains before why. What do you have to do? You have to pick it up a little bit. It's not enough by just holding it on the table, either taking it or holding it. You also have to pick it up. But even picking it up, a mashu, a little bit is enough. Why do you have to pick it up even a mashu? So the Emek Bracha explains, because if you don't pick it up at all, it's still like it's on the table, which means it's really missing in the lakicha. You're not even holding it. Taking it, holding it, separate shaila, but you don't even have a lakicha. You have to move it above the ground, above the table, that it should be ulakachtem, that you should have a lakicha. So therefore they say, not like we said from the Kappas Tamarim, that you have to make a maisak ba, 3 tvachim, a tefach. Even if you pick it up a minute, a little bit, it's fine. Because once it's above the ground, it's above the table, that's enough. The Shitas are a shash, and Lamaisa, and Rav Shlomo Zalman wants to even take that lahalacha, would be is that you don't have to pick it up a chlal. You don't have to pick it up a chlal. The Gemara says, the Agbe Nafek Bey, it's lav daf. You don't have to pick it up a chlal. So we have a machlokes 3 shitas, if you want to know if you have to pick up the Daled Minim. We have a machlokes 3 shitas about it. Either you have to pick it up a tefach 3 tvachim, or you only have to pick it up a drop, and some shitas you don't have to pick it up a chlal. B'meila you could declare, again in a few nafkaminas, what would be is if you don't pick it up. You don't pick it up, but you move it off the table and it's above the ground. Let's say if you have to be, not let's say, only with the Kappas Tvarim that you have to pick it up 3 Tvachim. You have to pick it up a Tefach. What happens if you move it off the table? It's very negeya. Sometimes you see the ones who want to just use biyoitza, they come, they take the Daled Minim, it's on the table, and they bring it over here, and they don't pick it up. Do you have to actually pick it up 3 Tvachim or a Tefach? Or it's enough as long as it's above the ground, a Tefach of 3 Tvachim? No, if you pick it up, we're talking about you took it, it's in your hand, but you moved it off the table. First of all, about shaking nanuim, that's going to be in a further shear. What's the makar? If you have to shake, if it's ma'akiv. But let's even say you do need a shake and you're going to shake, and that's what is brought in Shulchan Aruch. So you move off the Daled Minim, you move it off the table. Again, a chayla, he's doing a ma'aseh l'kicha, he's taking it. But when he takes it, he moves it off the table. Right, he moves it off the table. The Daled Minim is here, and he moves it off the table over here. And then he's going to shake. He's going to do perfect, all the ruchas, everything 3 times each time. He does a full nanuim. But Lamais, he takes it off the table. Is that good? Again, an afkamina would be is, let's say, if he picked it up before Alois, if you don't need a lakicha, and he's holding it above the ground, 3 tvachim, but he didn't pick it up. Do you have to actually pick it up? A zaken, a chayla that can't pick it up 3 tvachim. So this is really b'machloikes shnuya, which is again very negeya. Zaken, a chayla. A lot of times, ladies, when it's on the table, they take it, they pick it up, They take it from the table and they move it off the table, but they don't badafka pick it up a tefach of 3 tvachim. We said the kappas tomorrow says you have to pick it up a tefach 3 tvachim. The taz, this taz is actually in Hilchos Eruvin by Shabbos, by Ruva Chatzeris. So the halach is if you want to be able to carry in a chatz, so you have to make a Ruva Chatzeris. Everybody chips in, gives a piece of bread or something for a suda, and maybe you could carry. The halacha is, if you don't want to go and collect from everybody, every single unit, everybody in the Eruv Chatzeris, you don't want to go and it takes a long time. So what you can do is you buy a box of matzah, bread, or anything you buy, you take something, and you mezak it for everybody. You mezak it for everybody. You have to do it through someone else, but you mezak it for everybody. While being mezak it for everybody, with being mezak it for everybody, everybody has it, so maybe you have a Eruv Chatzeris. Now, when you do that kinyan, you're doing the kinyan hagbah. So you have to pick it up. Hagbah again is a machlokes 3 tvachim tefach. Says the Taz speaks about it over there. What happens if it's above the ground but you didn't pick it up? Whatever the case is, you took it off the table and you didn't make a ma'isa hagbah. It's mugba va'imid. Is that enough? If it's mugba va'imid, you didn't pick up the matzah. It's just above the ground. You move the box of matzah off the table and you're holding it right here. Is that enough? So the Taz says it's not enough and you have to pick it up a tefach. That's the Shitas Taz. However, the Avnei Nezer and other poskim, others argue and say that you don't have to pick it up. Mugba v'imid is enough. So Mela, that machlokes by the kinyan over there would move over here also. Because the kappas tomorrow that says you have to pick up a tefach of 3 tvachim is bedoimet the kinyan. So Mamela, l'cha'ira should be the same thing over here. The same machlokes should be by dalad minim also. If somebody moves the dalad minim off the table, if you need if mugba v'oimid is enough by over there by eruv and l'cha'ira should work over here also. As long as the dalad minim is above the ground, the tefach of 3 tvachim, it's enough. But if you need to do a ma'isa hagbah over there, l'cha'ira over here also by dalad minim, you'll have to do a ma'isa hagbah. So what we're coming at over here, when the Shulchan Aruch says that there's a mitzvah lekicha ulakachtem, so lakachtem, these are machlekes haposkim, if you have to actually take the dalad minim, or it's enough just to hold the dalad minim, then even whether if you took it or whether you're holding it, there's another chelik that goes into the mitzvah, into what the Torah says ulakachtem. Do you have to pick it up, or mamish pick it up, or pick it up a mashu? You don't have to pick it up a chlal. And Beis Hashem, in the future shir, will speak about the next chelik, nanuim, the makor, the chiyuv, Shabbos.